Abarera Legos Ram Ori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja 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 Abarera Legos Ram Ori Banish C Abarera, Legos, Ram, Ori, Banish, C10, Demonio, Dinaja, 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 Abarera, Legos, Ram, Abarera Nikos Rambori Banish C10 Demonio Dinaja Abarera Nikos Rambori Banish.
Hello, 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 everybody. Welcome to Apocrypha. So this is going to be an interesting one because we got Mystic kind of vibing out in front of a tree. So that's a thing. Uh, so hope everyone is doing well.
Those burrowing owls, I can never figure it out.
Tree
I have no idea.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Tree Sap.
Who's up?
Yep. So
Rookie getting cat.
So Mystic, as you're outside and all that fun stuff, what deck do you have? I'm gonna say deck because I'm sure you didn't bring options.
I actually do have options, but one of them is not appropriate.
Ah, okay, as
So-
always.
Being that we are at a pre-Pride event the night before at our favorite place in Cape Coral where we live near the beach, which is why I'm outside. If anybody, very nice little shindiggy. I have the Saint Jinx Uncensored XXX Tarot.
Okay,
Um,
we can't do that.
And cannot show that. So instead, I thought I had brought the Divine Masculine Tarot, which is one of my favorites. That's not inappropriate. It's very tasteful, but I didn't. I actually brought the Abyss, which is also one of my favorites. So,
Rockin'.
oh shit, Slim Jim,
Slim Lewis.
Slim Lewis. Yeah, I don't have my phone, so I can't see chat, and I'm using my iPad, so I cannot tell what's going on, y'all. All right. So we're going to pull a couple cards tonight, and we're going to see what is in store. By the way, we were asked, or at least I was, which was kind of cool, at this place to start coming in and being a vendor to do tarot readings here, which I think will be fun. And if Brandy comes over here, let her know we're on the camera, so she doesn't. We're good. How are you? Yeah. Whatever we have is NSA. Which is usually Tiki Apple NSA. Sorry, y'all. All right. So, let's see what we get. Okay.
The NSA.
We have Queen of Pentacles.
I like that artwork.
Yeah. So the Queen of Pentacles is, you look really nice, by the way. Great. No. The Queen, the Queen of Pentacles. Yeah. Sorry. By the way, we got a little sidetracked. The manager came by to talk to us and get our drinks. So the Queen of Pentacles is really, we had this last week, I think, or week before last, very recently. Earth related, earth bound. The Queen likes her stuff. You can see she has her things. Sorry, I keep knocking it here. She has the stuff that she needs here. So this is a reminder that you need to have the things that you need to do what you need to do with you. Be ready, be prepared, have the things within reach. This is not a moment to clean house. It's not a time to put things away. It's a time to pull things out that you need and have them in your space so that you can use them, because you're not going to be able to get up and get to them very soon based on these other cards. And you'll see them in a minute. So with Two of Wands, we've got Two of Wands, obviously fire card from the Wands, right? And so to me, twos are self vision. The two is when I'm looking in the mirror and I recognize myself. So the Two of Wands is this moment of, wait a minute, I'm recognizing that I actually have that fire ability no matter what's going on in my life. I'm a creator. I can do things that may not be what everybody else thinks, but it is still creation. So a Two of Wands will show up.
Can we pause
Yeah.
for a second and just appreciate the fact that that looks remarkably like Curtis?
It does kind of. It does with the hoodie and everything. But anyway, but I don't know if he's a fire or not. I could probably see that. Fire tornado. But Two of Wands again. We're taking our Queen of Pentacles. Have your stuff nearby. Be grounded. Be happy with what you have. Enjoy what you have. Like what you have, and be okay with finer things if you can get them. But have them in your reach. The Two of Wands is telling you to recognize that you can use those things. They're not just pretties around you.
Mm-hmm.
One of Rook's mom's words. They're not just pretties to look at. They're things to use. So use them. Your creative wand, not that creative wand. You need to utilize it and create. Maybe that creative wand. I don't know. We know what happens when you don't have cable, right? You have kids. That's how that happens.
Damn.
Boredom. The problem with all of this, though, is this one. We have the Three of Swords. So the last bit of energy that we're reading in the upcoming week or so is this loss. The swords have cut through that we thought were utilized to make things better. It's going to make it worse before it gets better. So my recommendation or my guidance would be, if we're looking at this as an energy, as how things are going, is to be prepared, be ready, be real with yourself, be willing to create things that you're comfortable creating, but recognize that it's going to suck for a bit before it gets better. So we have a little bit of, I hate to say heartache because it's so generic when it comes to the Three of Swords. That's like a thing. It's always heartache, but it's more about the things that you thought were there to make it better are going to make it worse first.
Mm-hmm.
But long game, Queen of Pentacles, long game always wins. I'm an Earth guy. To me, the Queen of Pentacles is the top card in the deck for me when I'm reading for myself.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever she shows up, I know it's something that's saying things are going to be fine. It's going to be okay. You're going to do what you got to do. You're not going to lose a lot of shit, but it's going to feel like crap for a minute with the Three of Swords. So be careful. You guys are doing a lot of stuff or have a lot of plans this next week. Just keep your stuff with you. Don't set it down and forget it.
Gotcha. Figuratively and literally.
Figuratively, more than literally, but yes.
Exactly. Scarlet, welcome. Hello. Good to
Woo-hoo!
see you. Good to see us flipping through.
Me and my borderless cards.
You gotta throw it out there.
I do. It is so funny.
So, all right. So just to kind of throw it out there for everybody, so everybody is aware, because I keep forgetting to do this, and I need to promote it. We need to promote it more. So, guys, do remember there is a merch site. Okay, that is threadsforthedead.com. Okay, which is going to start having a bunch of stuff on it. Okay. It's got a bunch of merch on it already. T-shirt designs, hoodies, patches, things like that. You know, if you want to throw people for a loop, one of my favorite ones is the porn star line, right? You know, just buy one of those shirts and throw it on, and trust me, people will be confused. You know, because who doesn't want to be a porn star? I mean, come on.
I mean, I have a tarot deck for that, but
right, there you go.
we will get canceled. So
exactly. But it's there, right? It is an option. Also, my site, which is just adiasdate.com, which is again just more of an informational site. All right, that is there for, you know, if you guys want to dig into my head a little bit more and, you know, get maybe little peeks at, you know, the book that's going to be. Hopefully, I'm going to have it finished this year. It's been 2 years in the making. But it's getting there. And then obviously, you know, the mantra that you guys hear during the show and at the beginning is done by Behemoth-X. If you're not following Behemoth-X, go follow him. Because if you're not, you're doing it wrong. And then obviously Mystic does his Sunday service, pagan service, whatever he wants to call it, every other Sunday. So the second and fourth Sunday of the month? Mystic?
Say that again.
Is it the second or fourth Sunday of the month that you do your show?
First and third.
First and third. See, you don't listen to me. I would have you would have
Don't.
gone to his channel. There would have been nothing there.
Yep. Thank you. It is first and third, and then we throw in some extras randomly if we feel like it, but it usually gets us off center every time. But yeah.
There you go. Also, another big announcement. The Black Witch Dyra has agreed to be a regular on the show every third Friday of the month. All right, so you will see Dyra joining us every third Friday of the month to just, do the shit that we normally do just with a third person, right? Some, extra input, right? So.
Input. I need to watch that movie again. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of that tonight.
Is there a movie called Input?
No, it's from freaking Short Circuit. Johnny Five Alive, Input.
Oh my god, dude, I haven't seen that in years.
I know.
Wasn't it didn't that come out in the 80s?
Yeah. Agreed.
And wasn't there this didn't he do a little
There was-
cholo rap in there somewhere in one of them?
I don't know about that, but there are a couple of them. But the reason it's even in my head is because maybe was it a week ago or so they were talking about the house from Short Circuit was on the news for something. So.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Johnny Five Alive.
Wow, that's old, dude. I remember that movie. There's two of them or something like that, 2 or 3 of them. I remember.
3,
that.
I think, 3 or 4.
Yeah.
How old is Rhonda in the elevator?
How
The
long do
elevator
you think?
keypad?
How long do you think until somebody remakes that?
I'm surprised they haven't yet, but I don't know. That's a good one.
Eventually,
I cried
it's
when he
gonna happen.
became a citizen.
When he became a citizen.
Yeah, I cried.
That's crazy. That's crazy. So yeah. Basically, the kind of rundown for this weekend. I think following the energy of what Mystic was laying down with the tarot read is, I have been going through kind of I want to say kind of like a creative block, right? Where I can sit down in front of the computer and I can try to put something together. I can try, I've tried everything, listening to music. I've tried, watching creative and weird movies, anything and everything I can think of to kind of get those creative juices going. And I think I kind of came to the conclusion that sometimes I think it's okay to be burnt out. Sometimes I think it just needs to happen. Your brain and your body and your spirit just needs to reset, right? When you're putting stuff out there and trying to force it, which is what I've been doing, isn't helpful, right? I think trying to force it is obviously it's very, very detrimental because it's definitely hurt my progress more. I've noticed that I took 2 days and I just kind of said, all right, I'm not going to do anything. 2 days, I'm just not going to do anything. I'm not going to think about it. I'm not going to, whatever. And, now I'm starting to feel I want to start doing things again. And there's also, I'm not going to lie, there's been some rearranging in my office as well. So for some reason, a lot of the time with me, when the creative juices stop, that kind of means I need to start moving shit around, right?
I think that's pretty common.
You think so? Are you the same way?
Yeah. It's not even just that, but yes, when I really feel stuck, we rearrange the entire house. We move things around. It almost always unsticks you because, it moves literally, physically, it moves your brain around. When you adjust things, not just furniture in a room or something, but just in general, when you're working on stuff, you do something different than you normally do or adjust it, your brain finds new pathways to make it. It really does get that going. One thing that I've done recently to get reacquainted and back into really being excited about learning and stuff and reading is Legos. I
Really?
forgot how much. Yeah, I forgot how much just letting everything else go and sitting down for 30 minutes with Legos. It's like mindfulness almost. It completely resets my brain.
I feel like I kind of
It's
get that way with
strange.
Minecraft.
Yeah, that's probably true for a lot of people with their video games. That's um, They Are Billions does that for me. Like it's almost mindlessness, but with purpose, and it kind of almost like just chinks the parts of your brain back together.
I mean,
But
it
you're right.
makes
You try to force it, you don't. You get even worse.
yeah. I mean, but that makes a lot of sense though, because even like when it comes to like working out, like physical activity. Like if you want to build muscle, you can't keep doing the same exercises over and over again the same exact way. Your body gets used to it and accustoms to it, and then you
Mhm.
reach a plateau where then there's no more growth, you know.
Yeah.
And then you have to switch it up. You have to shock the system, and
Yeah.
I guess one of the things falling into what Mystic was talking about in the reading, when shit falls apart or when it feels like it's falling apart, that isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, I think that's a big thing that we also need to remember. Change is important for our ability to grow. And when it feels like shit's falling apart and falling away from you, you know, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes you just kind of need to roll with the punches and look beyond it. At that opportunity to rebuild. It's like I guess. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that makes sense? Is that valid?
Yeah. The thing that makes it tough, and I think of it obviously in the context of a show from a spiritual perspective. Um, I used to get really upset with myself when we would cycle out of doing stuff, and I have always been that way. Things cycle in and out, but each cycle things got a little bit more consistent, a little more consistent until our practice kind of has a cadence to it. But then when it got that cadence, I started getting bored and I started feeling stuck. And then I get
Mm-hmm.
mad at myself for getting stuck, and then I stopped doing something. And you have
Mm-hmm.
to realize at some point that everything we do is in the cycle. Everything that's human, everything, it's circadian rhythm, wake cycle, sleep cycle, your cycle of life, the birth, middle age and death. It's all
Yep.
cycle. And at some point, you have to allow yourself to, crack a few of the pieces away to put something else in its place. And even if it's not as pretty as it is before, you still have all of the things you learned from it.
Yep.
But now you have something new to put in its place. And I think that is a big part of growth just in general. We want things to be right and perfect all the time. And when they're not, we kind of let them go or move on. And I'm really, I would say, the last 10 years have kind of changed that mindset where I'm going to say I have to like fight to keep things on track, but I like letting them fall apart a little bit. It
Mm-hmm.
reminds me that I still have a human part of my body in my life, and I've got to let it knock down a little bit, and I find that whatever gets built up every time has been better. I just have to learn to not be so emotional about it because that's the part that hurts.
Mm-hmm.
It, those tower moments is what they are. The things breaking down. It's a good thing, but it never feels like it while you're in it.
Yep.
And you can tell yourself it does. Oh, this is good. I know something better is going to come, but if you don't believe it, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And that's I think where people get stuck with depression and get stuck in and how they're living a life and they feel like everything is against them all the time. And then when you feel that, you keep doing that.
Yep.
That when the tower is happening and the lightning strikes, you have to get prepared for when the lightning's not striking anymore, because then you're like, oh my god, things are going okay with me. I'm just what's going to happen next, waiting for the next shoe to drop. And
Mm-hmm.
that is a psychological cycle we all get into at some point or some time, and it's not a good one. Waiting for
Yeah.
the shoe to drop is ruining the good time that you have.
Yeah. No. Definitely. Definitely. No. And so I actually read something that kind of plays into this a little bit. That kind of struck me. Like I had to take a moment and kind of reread it when I read it, and to me it makes sense, right? And I think it's valid. So don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but it says that if your dreams don't make you like achieving your dreams don't make you uncomfortable, then you're not dreaming big enough. And the reason why I think that plays in is because change is an uncomfortability for a lot of people. It can feel refreshing once the change has happened, once it's over, once you're in it, like past that point to a certain point. Like, for example, like moving your house around. I'm sure that you're not excited to move your house around, but after you finish moving your house around, you're kind of like, oh, this is good. You know, that uncomfortability, I think, is that point of growth. You know, like when we feel uncomfortable in a situation to a certain degree, you know, we are putting ourselves in a situation to force ourselves to grow in different ways.
Yeah, I mean, there's psychological. I mean, this is a whole thing that's been studied for God knows how long. I can't remember the name of the guy that does it, but and it's kind of no longer the real thing that people use anymore for change theory because there's so many. But there's newer ones that actually make more sense. But the main one that most people learn, or a lot of people learn if they're in school, and that I've seen that we utilize is freeze, move, and unfreeze. And basically that's a change theory that allows somebody who wants to be a change agent, if you want, and you can do this for yourself, right? You have to stop. There's something that needs to change. You have to stop things where they are and assess it, because you have to know where you're going. And then during that time frame, you start developing what it is you're changing and how it's going to look, and that new process in your brain. And then you move it to the new system, get everything set up, and then you unfreeze it so that it becomes a thing again. It's almost like pausing so that you can really take a breath. And one of the things we don't do when things are falling apart, we don't pause, we panic.
Yep.
And you have to not panic. You have to pause. Okay, shit's falling apart. This sucks. So hold on. Okay, panic for a quick second. Pause. What do I need to do differently? What do I need to change? Let's do that. And then I'm going to do a couple of things, and I move a couple of things, learn a couple of things. And then I want to unfreeze and see if it worked. Right? Very old, very watered down version of that, but that's something that's always stuck with me. We use it at work a lot. With human psychology itself, right?
Yeah. No, I think that is something that can applies into so many things. Like just thinking about like just somebody that wants to incorporate like something new into their lives, whether that's, a workout routine or it's a ritual routine, or working with, a new entity, or, implementing new tools into your spiritual practice. Like I think a lot of people, I think maybe we overlook kind of like a process like that. We don't think about how we're going to change our process and kind of, implement these things. We just kind of throw it in and then wonder why it's not working because we didn't kind of look at it and understand how we're going to work with it. Whatever that thing might be that you're changing in your life. And I think that aspect that you're talking about, that big kind of like pause moment, kind of like, okay, I want to put this thing or change this thing or move this thing, and kind of put it in pause and then move it around, figure it out, how you want it to be implemented and how you're going to, implement it on the day to day, and then go forward with it. Right? We don't give ourselves the opportunity to kind of take that in and think about that aspect of it. We think these are things that we just need to throw in and just start doing, without giving any forethought.
That's the panic part.
Yep.
But
yeah.
It definitely plays into spiritual practice too, because it's something we just do often when we're well, I don't want to say often. A lot of people have gotten really good at not panicking, but then they get so non-panicky that they're numb. And that's the other part of depression, right? Is numbness, not feeling anything. So anxiety and depression go in that very well. But anyway, from a spiritual perspective, there's this moment where you have to be okay with where you are and what you're doing, and be okay to yes and no, and learn stuff and grow and not grow and all that. You just have to give yourself time.
I mean, I remember, that reminds me of something about myself. I remember a situation years and years and years ago, that me and my partner at the time were going to get evicted where we were living because honestly, it was a significantly less stable part of my life. and that person's life. And neither of us had any type of stability to be able to kind of maintain a particular, like, to stay in a place. But I remember when that conversation came up, that we got the notice, the eviction notice, and my partner just started crying and freaking out, and I just kind of sat there, and they asked me, "Why are you not crying? Like, why are you not freaking out?" And it's like, I mean, I lived on the streets for a year. I learned very quickly that freaking out is not going to put a roof over my head. And
Yep.
that was my response. That was my response. It's like, I mean, I need to figure out what the next steps are, right? Is there a way to save this situation, or do we need to move into a completely different situation? Like, that's what I need to figure out. Like, I need to look at both sides of this and see what's most likely going to happen.
Yep. And people have a feeling when you don't react the way that they expect you to, also, and that can be a little weird. Definitely a stressor. I
Mm-hmm.
know for me, like I get frustrated with myself when I don't, pay attention to the moon phases, for example. And I'm like, really, it's so simple. It's just something you can do so easily, and you don't do it. I can't believe you missed another one. And I'm like, pretty freaking busy. It's okay to miss them in once in a while, as long as I get back in for the next one.
My iPhone tells me.
Yeah. I mean, even I can see it and I notice it. I just don't do anything. I just look at, hey, moon, you know.
Uh-huh. Exactly. But I
But
do agree with that. I do agree, like, the both aspects of that, right? There's a certain level of numbness that happens when you learn not to freak out about things, that freaks other people out, because you're not, because then they
hmm
think that you don't care, right? They
hmm
think, like, when they don't see you freaking out, and they don't see you, panicking in a situation, a person's immediate reaction to seeing another person like that isn't that, okay, this person's calm under pressure and thinking. Their first reaction is, this person doesn't give a shit and doesn't care, and that's just not true. Because I cared very much. Obviously, I don't want to be homeless again. I didn't want to be homeless again, but at the same time, I knew that, what is freaking out and crying going to get me? Nothing.
I mean, I think it's perfectly fine to do it. It's one of those things where you can do those things, just don't live there, right?
Yeah.
You gotta have a little mini panic, have a little mini little pity, and get over it, and fine.
Yeah.
But don't sit there and live there. You have to be able to go. Now, granted, I'm not saying people who have mental illness can just rise above it. I mean, that's a whole nother thing. But for us, if you have the opportunity and the ability to, you really should try to say, okay, well, just what is the next thing I can do with my left foot? Can I take another step, left foot, right
Yep.
foot?
Yep.
Let's see where it goes from there.
Yeah. Exactly. No, definitely. I mean, that's just how it is. Um, you know, and obviously, I mean, there have been recent situations, where, I've been in a difficult situation, and I'm thankful that I have, you know absolutely amazing friends that have my back, um, to help get me out of that situation. Um, so that's a big thing. I used to be the kind of person that like to sit there and say that, yeah, I got myself out of the situation, I got myself out of that situation. But at the end of the day, yes and no. Yes and no. Obviously, certain actions that I took kind of were the precursor of me being able to get out of a situation. But I think, for me personally, it's important to give credit where credit is due, and understand to say, no, I didn't do it alone. I wasn't completely alone in the situations that were difficult for me, that I got out of, that, you know, put me to a better place. There have been multiple people in my life that have, helped me, in situations. The only reason I'm not dropping names, of people that have helped me, is because,
It doesn't matter.
well, yeah, one, it doesn't matter, and two, like, unfortunately, once something like that goes public, then for some reason people have this unbeknownst logic that person becomes a bank account.
hmm
And so I'm not going to be mentioning names of people that have helped me, but They know who they are. You know, so, and I'm just I just want to like put it out there. One thing that I'm beginning to practice in my day-to-day life and my spiritual practice actively is active gratitude. What I think is a big thing that I've been missing in my life is to be truly grateful for the people and things that I have that are positive in my life. Like, but truly grateful, not just like the verbal sense of saying, yeah, I'm grateful for, no, like actually demonstrating that gratitude.
You know, it's not, just for me, one of the things that's been very eye-opening when it comes to gratitude is it's not even demonstrating gratitude. It's sitting with yourself and really being grateful. Like, if this didn't occur, then this likely would have happened, and this, you know, these things. And it doesn't take showing somebody that you're grateful. That's nice. You know, people like that. It's a good thing. You should. But the real truth of gratitude is within yourself, and really taking a moment to say, I recognize that I'm grateful for something that has occurred that's outside of me. Because it really does have that kind of a namaste tone to it, right? My soul knows yours. What I'm learning, what I'm being has this bigger meaning than sometimes can be put into words.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, definitely. You know, I mean, I wouldn't be quite literally, figuratively and literally, for the people that have helped me and have been there for me. I would not be where I am today if not for those people. Like, just end of story. Where I would have been, who the hell knows? But I'm just thankful that I don't have to know where I would have been. Which is also, I think, a big thing. Like, we like to sit there and try to think about, well, where would I have been without this or without that? Who knows where the hell you would have been? Just be thankful that you don't know. Like, I think that's another aspect. Be thankful that you don't know certain places you could have gone if certain people or things didn't intervene when they did.
Yeah, we've talked about that before. That's the operating in a negative space, right? Recognizing that for everything that could have been or that is, there's something that could have been that isn't, and that could be much worse. And it's kind of does go along with the be grateful for what you have. It could always be worse, which I hate because it takes some of it out of, like, you know, yeah, it could always be worse, but it is bad for me right now and I need help, right? Like, I don't like it that way, but in your brain to think that, you know what, I'm lucky that this is happening. It's something that I've had to learn. A lot of things that I have, I've always said I'm very lucky, but I've always denigrated myself that, you know, I'm lucky. And then somebody once said to me, it's like, stop saying you're lucky. You're actually good at what you do. Take credit for it. I'm like, okay, I take credit for it, but then there's guilt. So then to think back, it's like, well, the way to look at it is, here's what could have been, and here's what is. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the people that I've run into, whether that was for 10 minutes and I never see them again, but they had an impact. The life goes on. I remember, I shouldn't share this, but I remember sneaking the little mini alcohols into with my friend while we were working at UPS customer service, and we would be picking up like quadruple shifts, all kinds of money. We thought $12 an hour was just the shit, and we were working our asses off, and we're like drinking our little minis and getting drunk and giving the best customer service you've ever had.
Right.
But I mean, I knew this girl for 3 months, and I still talk to her on Facebook, and I see she's married and has kids. She's just, it's nice to know that I'm grateful for that, even though it wasn't the right thing to do. I'm grateful to have that experience.
I mean, there's a lot of things that probably weren't the right thing to do, but I mean, I would like to say that it's victimless.
Awesome.
Right? You know, like, you know, we all have our moments of stupidity that were fun. You know, all of us. I can't necessarily think of any moment of stupidity that I had that didn't end up with me sleeping on a bathroom floor, but that's beside the point.
I'm not going to share them, but I have some that I would not ever tell anybody, not even Rook. He immediately thinks it's sexual, so that's going to be his problem, but they're not. So yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah.
Don't need all that pizza. I need a couple pieces.
I think the worst thing that I remember happening was I was at a club It was I rarely have ever gone to clubs, and so there's a place down here that a friend of mine that I didn't know was gay said, "Hey, let's go to a club," and I'm like, "All right." And I didn't know he was gay. I swear, like I'd like to think that I don't know how people feel about this, but I'm gonna put it out there. It was a thing back in the '90s and the early 2000s. I don't know if it's a thing I can still say, but I'm still gonna fucking say it. I'd like
You
to
can. Nobody cares.
I like to think that I have really good gaydar. Okay.
Yeah.
Like
Rook sucks. Mine, I'm right every time, but Rook, he cannot tell for nothing. Your gaydar is broken. Terrible. Nobody says that anymore. I don't know
Right.
if it's offensive to some people, maybe, but I don't care. Like, that's not a
Okay.
thing for me.
All right. Well, that's what we used to say, right? Me and my friends and stuff like that. But I had a friend down here where I'm at, and I had no idea he was gay. Like, I would have never thought. And he's like, "Hey, let's go to a club." And I'm like, "All right, cool. Let's go to a club." And so he brings me to this place called Seven Sins, right? That's what it's called. It's a club down here. It's called Seven Sins. And I immediately thought, like, I see Seven Sins. I immediately think, like, oh, it's like a goth alternative club, right? And so I walk in, and like, it does not have that goth alternative vibe. It does not have that vibe at all. Like, what is this? What's going on? And then I start to look around, and I immediately, obviously, once being in there, I immediately pick up on what's going on. Right? It's a gay club, right? That's what it is. And so I'm like, all right. And see, my friend, he just took off, right?
Yeah.
Satan knows what the fuck he was doing. And so he left me by myself. So I sat at the bar. I'm sitting there, and I randomly get this bucket of beers. And the
That's
bartender,
awesome.
the bartender looks at me, he points. There's this muscular dude. Like, I mean, he looked like he belonged in a catalog with a cowboy hat and like
Most of them do.
the whole cowboy get up and the cowboy shoes, and he's sitting at a table with like 3-4 young men with him, because you could tell he's older. You could tell he was easily, I was 20 something at the time. You have to figure must have been 30, maybe pushing 40, right?
Terribly old.
But like in a good way, right? Like, I mean, I'm straight, but I'm able to say whether or not somebody is, an attractive individual. And
Yeah. Everybody can. They just won't sometimes.
but I felt bad because I wasn't interested, because the thing is obviously I don't swing that way. But then like somebody's gifting me like a bucket of beer. I was like, what am I, like, what do you do in that situation? Obviously, what did I do? I drank the beer and I didn't go to the table. But that's what made me feel bad about it. Because when I looked over, he just did like a little tip of the hat kind of thing like this, with a slight
I
bite of
literally-
the lip.
I've had that before happen, and I've literally just said, "Look, I'm not interested. Thank you. It's a very nice gesture. I don't want to take your money." Beer.
Oh, I was like, that'd be weird.
But if you want to have a drink with me, you can certainly come over and hang out. That's always the right way to do it. And people, that's how you make friends.
Okay.
I've bought a drink for a straight guy before and had to kind of eat crow a little bit, and they've said the same thing. Look, they're like, I'm not gay. I'm like, oh, we can still have the drink. Let's hang out. What do? You still have that conversation. That was at the Rainbow Cactus in Virginia.
That's great. That's great. Slim Lewis, thank you so much for the $25 super chat. I enjoy these shows every Friday. Thank you. You are very welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your support. Greatly appreciate it, my friend. But yeah, so I mean, I was young. In my defense, I was young, and I didn't know how to handle that situation. So
Oh yeah.
I kind of curled up and drank the beers in silence. But by the way, my friend that I went with never came back. Like, I ended up having to get a cab to go home. I don't know what happened to him.
Oh, I'm sure we can guess.
Yeah, definitely. But it was definitely an interesting situation that occurred. I don't know what the point of this conversation was. There was a direction that I was going with this, and I completely lost it. Just to let you guys know.
How does this relate to the occult?
Right? I don't know. I think you mentioned something. I just kind of wanted to throw it out there, because we talking about freaking out.
It does. Yeah, it does remind me though a little bit of what we've been reading. Like Rook and I both are reading Peter Gilmore, The Satanic Scriptures, Some of it's really freaking annoying. Some of it's good. That's how pretty much all of them have been lately. There's
Yeah.
only two authors now that I like reading that I've identified with majorly and haven't had significant issues, which is Don Webb and Michael Aquino. I don't know how you say it, but those two, both in the Temple of Set, I absolutely love what they do. Talk about stand for the whole 9 yards. It's so different, but just kind of reading about what Gilmore says about gay people. I mean, hell, I'm at pre-gay pride in Cape Coral, so might as well talk about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Spiritual related. Talked about how, like, if there's two consenting adults, do whatever the fuck you want. But he does mention how you shouldn't denigrate somebody for having a different enjoyment. Yeah, don't look at people who don't like what you like and be like, how disgusting. Just don't like it. If you don't like it, don't do it.
Uh-huh.
What he's looking for or saying, and LeVay kind of said this a little bit in different words, love that they're able to do what they want to do and let it go.
Yep.
And I think that was one of the interesting points that I liked about the original in the Satanic Bible. It does talk about that, and then Gilmore also goes into a little bit too. So that's a pretty neat thing, because a lot of people who I've heard and seen claiming to be there's well, I don't want to say claiming to be, that's very rude, but that are self-described Satanists, which I am not. I am clearly not a Satanist of any manner. I am definitely left-hand path, but not Satanist for sure. But there's just this mindset of, live and let live. But part of that is also not just live and let live. It's just live, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's a piece, and that's kind of the same thing. It's
well, it goes back to that thing that you constantly say, not allow, like saying that you're allowing something to happen. It's like, not that you're allowing it. It just is what
right.
it is.
It's why I hate tolerate. So there's like, yeah, we got to tolerate. No, I don't want to be tolerated. Don't tolerate me. Just respect me and shut up. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much.
Spiritually, same thing. Like, I'll respect any Christian person if they're respectful.
Mm-hmm. Well,
fine with it.
I am definitely a person that believes that respect is earned. I think that there are certain aspects that should just be respected. But when you say respect an aspect of someone, it's not. Like, I don't know if you get what I'm saying. It's a bit difficult to explain.
I do.
Like, there's different levels to respect, and
yeah, I've always thought that. So respect is, to me, I get what you mean by earned, and I agree with that. But it's different for me. Respect is the standard, and you can lose it really fast.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a problem with being disrespectful to you if you're disrespectful to me, but I'm not going to be disrespectful to you up front.
Right.
I'm also not going to go out of my way to put you on a pedestal either. Right? We're going to be respectful to each other. We're good. You respect me. We might build a relationship. We might grow. We might have more respect for each other. Mm-hmm. And then once we start becoming friends and having each other in our lives, regardless of what that reason is, that respect will continue to grow. Then when you fuck it up, knocks you down a couple, but I might actually come back to you on that because you're valuable,
Right.
As a person to me. So that, I think, we give a bit of the doubt. But if you're not valuable to me in my sphere and you're disrespectful to me, I'm like, fuck you, bye.
Yeah, that's the best.
Which is a new lesson for me. That's like the last year of learning that I've been able to do that. I'm having a significant issue at work that's causing that again. Not related to spiritual stuff, but just an absolute conniving, backstabbing bitch. And it makes me angry that she treats people in a poor way and is disrespectful to me. And I got some really good advice from my boss, and it's basically just don't even let it come into your sphere of life. Just go right around it. It will kill her. And it does. And I love it.
Well, self-respect is the first respect that you have to maintain, right? And self-respect, like being self-respecting, is understanding, do I want to let this into my life? Do I want to allow this to dictate, my behaviors or my reactions, and there are probably going to be certain situations where maybe that's something that should happen, right? Maybe you need to have a reaction, but then there's going to definitely be other aspects of things where it's, no, I don't want to have a reaction to this. I don't want this to be a part of my life, and it's just, fuck it. I don't give a shit. I don't care.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Yeah, one of the things that, you know, I'm big on is it's normal to stress, right? Stress is a big thing. There's a big conversation that's been circling in my life recently, like the concept and idea of stress. And I'm not going to say that I don't stress. Obviously, I do, right? I'm human. Like I have stressors. I have things that stress me out that make me worry, things like that. Just normal day to day shit. But
Hmm.
I am definitely that type of person that like I don't know. An example, like let's say I got to pay a bill, right? And I know that something's going to get turned off if I don't pay that bill on time. But it's 8, 9 o'clock at night. My philosophy is, can I do anything about it right now? Do I have the money to pay it right now online? No. Okay. Is there anything I can do in this moment to fix this situation? Nope. Okay, then I don't want to talk about it. I'll worry about it tomorrow. That's my philosophy, because I'm going to take this opportunity right now where I know that I'm incapable of doing anything. I'm going to relax. I'm going to watch my show, play my game, talk to my friends, do whatever that I need to do to feel okay. And then tomorrow, in the morning, when I know there's something I can do about it, I will do something about it. Call the company, make a payment, a partial payment, whatever.
I worry a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and I always have. It's a planning thing for me. Like I have to have things planned and figured out. Um, so that's a big piece. But uh, I have been learning and working on myself from that perspective, right? Of trying to understand that when you're worrying, you're basically giving away your time twice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm giving away my time tonight because I'm worrying about it, and then I can't do anything, and then tomorrow I have to deal with it anyway. So
Yep.
why am I going to deal with it twice, or 3 times, or 4 times?
Yep.
That is the concept that got me to start thinking. Wait a minute, let me write it down on a piece of paper to remind myself tomorrow, and go on about my business. That's where the Legos come in handy. You know what I mean? Put it on a list of paper to do it tomorrow, and let me go play some Legos. It just completely puts my mind somewhere else, and then I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think that that's a big thing that a lot of people, like, I mean, at least I'm realizing now in this particular situation, a lot of people miss it. It almost feels like a lot of people like stressing out about shit. They like kind of like blowing things up to a level that they shouldn't.
I will say, I don't know if people like stressing. I think people do utilize things that we consider stressful manipulatively to feel stress so they get what they need and the attention they need.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably true. Um, because if we're talking about real stress, we are talking about a psychological, but also a physiological response. It's not just stress.
Yeah.
So if you're taking that out of it and you're thinking about like, is this really stress, or is it, oh my God, I'm still worried about what's going to happen tomorrow, so that somebody will ask me, well, what's going to happen tomorrow?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm glad you asked. That kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's
Yeah. I
just like,
mean,
look,
well,
hey, tomorrow's going to suck.
my general response to stuff like that when people start acting like that is like, is there like a lion or a tiger chasing you? Are you being held at gunpoint? Are you in a bad part of town and afraid you're going to get jumped? No. Is somebody in your family ill and in the hospital and dying? No. Okay, then just breathe, relax, enjoy your time, and then worry about it tomorrow.
It's actually a common practice, right? Of, is there a lion or a tiger chasing you? Well, no. Okay, say it. Stuff. Okay, there's no lion chasing me. My life is not in danger, because that's what anxiety and stress is designed to do,
Uh-huh.
to keep you from those situations, right? So I've heard that before. That's a pretty common thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something, because one of the, like, obviously, like, for going into the spiritual aspect of it, right, is one of the reasons why, like, I kind of focus on, like, the spiritual aspect of things when it comes to stuff like that is, for me, one of the de-stressors that I have when I am stressed is going into ritual, right? Is that meditative point that I reach when I'm in ritual. And for some
Yeah.
reason, I am incapable of just sitting down and meditating. I mean, I can't do it. I cannot just sit there, cross my legs, and no, I can't do it. I go into ritual, boom, I'm there. Like 5, 10, 15 minutes, and I'm there.
That's interesting. Like for me, like it's I can go right into meditation, but my problem is the anxiety of actually sitting down to do it. That
Okay.
keeps me from doing it. So once I like right now, I was like, look, I'm just gonna fucking do it, and I sit down. I'm like, immediately I start, and I'm gone. It just it's like that.
Oh, that's nice. I wish I could do that, but no, like I can't do
Yeah.
it. Like,
I mean, I've used some practice, some actual teachings to do that. Giving yourself and assigning yourself when you get to that moment code words that kind of help you get there
mhm.
faster. That's another thing you can do, right?
I think my
Like,
issue is like ADHD because what I do is like so I turn on like for example the mantra that's playing right now. I'll actually put this mantra by Behemoth. I'll put this on repeat on my speakers. I'll light the candles. I'll light the incense. And I think what happens with the music and my vision focusing on the candles and my sense of smell focusing on, you know, the incense, my brain is occupied in like various different ways, and it allows me to just kind of zone into it.
Legos, man.
Legos. Now I want to play Minecraft.
I haven't bought any yet, but they have a lot of Minecraft Lego stuff too.
Oh damn, that's crazy. I mean, it would make sense, right? I mean, Minecraft are blocks, Legos are blocks. It just kind of
I
goes hand in
really got
hand.
into I really did get into Minecraft when we had the first got the Switch, but I just got out of it for some reason. I miss it.
Slim Lewis, I like what Mystic said a few minutes back. Just respect me and shut up.
Yeah, respect me and shut up.
There you go. All right, everybody. That is going to conclude this week's episode of Apocrypha. Hopefully, you guys found,
It's an interesting topic.
yeah, interesting, and found something you can kind of, um, pull out of it. But Satan and Coffee Sunday. Hopefully, see you guys there. I guess this would be your first Sunday of the month, so you would be doing your show this Sunday as well. So.
We are. Yep.
So my show starts right after Mystics ends. Like I said, I would love to show up in a Mystics show, but 99% of the time I'm sleeping when he's doing his show, which is why I'm not there. It is nothing that I don't want to be there. I don't want to support. I do want to support, but it's Saturday, and I don't have to get up early. So,
Dude, I get up at 5:30 on Saturday and Sunday, just like I do during the week, so I get it.
so yeah,
But
yeah. So, but I will make an attempt to be there more frequently. But thank you all. Greatly appreciate you all being here. You guys are fucking amazing. And as always, hail thy fucking self. We'll see you in the next